Hey there, boys and girls. We are having our first virtual online class. So, welcome. I'm excited that you're here. We are starting Unit 7 this week, which the title of Unit 7 is Investigating Organisms and Environments. Now, keep in mind for time's sake that I am just giving you the bits and pieces, the important stuff that you really need to take away from this unit. I have posted the entire PowerPoint with some more in depth information under your resource tab in your COVID 19 folder. If you feel like you need it or you want to go back and pull it up and do some more, it's there for you. Okay. All right, your expectations, basically your TEKS. We're going to talk about the different environments and how organisms thrive there. We're going to talk about the difference between microhabitats and biomes. So, from the teeny, tiniest place to the biggest place. We're going to learn about biodiversity and how biodiversity contributes to the sustainability of an ecosystem. And I do know those are big words, so I will break them down and spend some time with you on that. And the last part of your TEK says to describe basically ecological succession and how that contributes to organisms and the sustainability of an ecosystem, which we won't get to that till next week anyway, but we will spend some time with that. All right. Now, for time's sake, I am not going to sit here and read all these questions to you. Just like we do when we're in the classroom, I always post some questions just for you to keep in the back of your brain while we're talking and while we're learning. So, what I want you to do is on the count of three, you're going to pause this video and you are going to read through these questions by yourself and take note of the words in blue because those are some of your vocabulary words. Okay. 3, 2, 1, pause. All right. Well, now that you're back, I hope you read through those questions and you focused in on those blue words. Your objective for today, and we're going to keep this kind of simple, is we're just going to talk about the four spheres of the earth. And we're going to, focus on the importance of how they're working together to sustain life on Earth, because everything is connected, everything is interdependent. And then we're going to talk about how life is organized within the biosphere. So we will be looking at a very simple graphic organizer today. By the way, you may want some a pencil and paper with you at your seat while you're working today, because there is going to be opportunity for you to make your own little graphic organizer if you feel like you need to do that. Your vocabulary that we're going to look at, you're going to see is biotic and abiotic, ecosystem, environment, organism, species, population, community, and then the word biome would be introduced today. Anywhere you see the asterisk, that lets you know that, hey, those words were used last year on your STAR test in the 8th grade. And I just wanted you to know that those words were pretty important. Okay, let's start with the four spheres. You have what we call the lithosphere, which is also called the geosphere. Geosphere and lithosphere, those two words are synonyms. And we're going to come back here in just a minute. We're going to break these words down. We're going to look at these prefixes so it'll help us understand the sphere and what its purpose is. You have the hydrosphere, atmosphere, and the biosphere. So if we come back over here and we're looking at the geosphere, we learned that geo means earth. Remember that geotropism? Meaning the solid part of the earth, the rocks, the soil. And there's a lot of things very vital to them. Plants getting nutrients from the soil, animals using the land or using the earth for habitats. You have the hydrosphere, the water. Water's vital. We know that. We're going to be talking about the different kinds of water or aquatic ecosystems. We're going to be looking at freshwater, saltwater, estuaries. But just think about the importance of water and how it helps sustain life here on Earth. Then you have atmosphere, which atmos means gas or air. And the three main ones that, there's a lot of gases in the atmosphere, but we're talking oxygen, carbon dioxide, nitrogen, because those three are very vital for the Earth and how life is able to sustain here on Earth. Remember, we breathe in oxygen and we exhale carbon dioxide, and plants actually do the opposite. Plants take in the carbon dioxide and they release the oxygen during photosynthesis. All very vital, all interdependent. And then the last one is the biosphere, which that's the big one we're going to be looking at, because your biosphere is basically Earth and everywhere that you find life on Earth. Okay, so here's where you might want to have a piece of paper out. You look over here on the right side of your paper. I have a very simple graphic organizer. There's just 6 little boxes. So if you want to pause the video real quick and sketch that out, we're going to look at the order from largest to smallest and how life is organized within the biosphere. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of myself. You don't need to see me anymore. You can hear me. And then we're just going to open the video up and watch the video. And if you need to pause it while you're filling out your graphic organizer, you can just hit the space bar and this video will pause.
Our big, beautiful blue planet is in a complicated balance of life and death, predator and prey, friend and foe. The word ecology literally translates to the study of home, our home, planet Earth. The more specific definition of ecology is the study of the relations of organisms to one another and to their physical environment. It answers questions like, how do living things interact and rely on each other, or on their surroundings? The survival of any species is dependent on other living organisms and non-living components. This is called interdependence. For example, humans could not survive without plants to produce oxygen, and the plants need carbon dioxide from humans and other organisms, or even from volcanic eruptions. Ecology is extremely complex and difficult to study. So one way that ecologists deal with this complexity is to use ecological models to represent or describe the components of an ecological system. This model is called an ecosphere. The largest ecological system we know of is the biosphere, planet Earth. This is the only biosphere we study because, so far, it's the only place in the universe that we know has life. The biosphere is the thin veil on Earth that goes from above the ground to the deepest parts of the ocean. All life on Earth is in the biosphere. If you zoom in to one ecosystem, it's a little easier to see all the parts working together. An ecosystem is all the organisms and non-living environment found in a particular place. The living things in this pond ecosystem include fish, turtles, aquatic plants, algae, insects, birds, and bacteria. These organisms interact in ways that affect their survival. For instance, insects and fish eat aquatic plants, and the turtles eat the fish. The non-living or physical and chemical things include the chemical composition of the pond, its pH, its levels of dissolved oxygen and carbon dioxide, and its supply of nitrogen, which all help to determine what kinds of organisms live in the pond and how abundant they are. A community is all of the interacting organisms in an area. It does not include the non-living factors. A population is all of the organisms of one type of species in the area, and an organism refers to an individual animal. In order, the levels of organization from the most broad to the narrowest are the biosphere, ecosystem, community, population, and organism. When we talk about where an organism lives, instead of saying ecosystem, which might still be a fairly large area, we could talk about its habitat. It's just a word that means the place where an organism lives. A habitat includes both biotic and abiotic factors. Biotic factors are the living parts of the habitat, and when you add the letter A in front of the word, it means not living, so abiotic factors are the non-living parts of the habitat. Using the pond ecosystem as an example, biotic factors include grasses, algae, fish, birds, and insects. The abiotic factors include the pH of the water, rocks, soil, the sunlight, and temperature. Now, you may sometimes hear people try to use the word habitat and the word niche interchangeably, and that's not quite how they should be used. A niche is the job or role of the organism within its environment. So, habitat is a home, and niche is a job. For example, a redwood tree takes energy from the sun and turns it into sugar using photosynthesis. Redwood trees are often found in foggy coastal areas like Santa Cruz, California. The habitat is the foggy coastal areas like California, and the niche is converting the sun's energy into sugar by photosynthesis. Now, some organisms fill a very broad niche, and some a very specific one. Generalists eat a variety of foods, and specialists eat few or even just one type of food. Pigs are an example of a generalist. They'll eat lots of different foods very happily. This can be beneficial to them because they could survive on a variety of foods and fill a niche in many different habitats. The panda, on the other hand, is a specialist because they only eat bamboo. If bamboo is unavailable, the panda population may die off. The species has a much higher risk of becoming extinct, so it's often beneficial for organisms to be generalists. Thanks for watching this episode of Teacher's Pet.
All right, so let's see what you learned. Here is an example of that graphical organizer filled out from smallest to largest, but you will notice there's one word on here, biome, and the word biome was not in that video. So we're going to come back to the picture real quick, and we're going to work our way from the bottom to the top and just review one more time the levels of organization. Okay, starting with the individual, starting with one, the organism. Okay, so like in this example, we have an elk. So one organism, one elk. Now, if you get a group of elk, all the same species, that makes a population, and they would reside in the same area. Then from there, you move up one more level, you go to the community. And remember, your community is everything that is living in that area. So that would be all the different animals and all the different plants as well. Okay, the algae, the bacteria, don't forget your decomposers. Okay, because those are really important to the ecosystem as well. And then from the community, you move up to your ecosystem, which is simply all the living and all living things in that area interacting. So now all the plants and animals and the bacteria and the fungi, and then things like temperature, water, soil. And from your ecosystem, you move up to the next one, which is your biome. And your biome is just a bigger ecosystem. So you're talking like the desert, the tundra, the Arctic, the rainforest. Those are examples of biomes. And then from your biome, you would move up to the largest, which is your biosphere, which is basically everywhere on Earth there is life. All right, kiddos. Short and sweet today. We will come back and have a day 2 and day 3 this week because I'm trying to chunk it for you, make it in smaller sections. Keep in mind, if you want a full version and you want some more information, go to that resource tab and you will see your PowerPoint. All right, see you soon.